Good morning, everyone. Tuesday, the 3rd of August today. Hope you're doing well. Sun is shining in the beautiful cathedral city of Durham. And I keep getting a message about poor video, but it looks alright. I'm going to just dismiss that and continue as though nothing has happened or I've been told a single thing. It's a beautiful day, as you too would have us believe. One thing that I didn't say yesterday, which I meant to say, was that I talked yesterday about emotions not being a direct result of a situation, but coming from how you respond. Not a direct result of a situation, but they rather capture your evaluation of that moment, of that situation, or of your response to it. And I'm going to tell you something else actually that came from the same study, but I forgot to tell you what the study was yesterday, just so you know all this is rooted in research. And it comes from a paper from just this year, which is Achieving Organizational Resilience Through Emotional Intelligence, lessons from an Airbus Group project on emotional energy. And so it's a recent paper that I've read. And the other thing that I want to tell you is the title of today's live, which is Manage Your Energy First, Not Your Time. Manage your energy first, not your time. Because no matter how effective you are at your planning or managing the task to time, because I don't like the phrase time management, because you can't manage time, it ticks by, no matter what you do. So the go-to thing, I suppose, is to manage all the tasks that you've got to do, is to think about what's in your trusted system. But this article was saying manage your energy first, and it makes absolute sense because if you are tired, if you're fatigued, if you're lethargic, then there's nothing that you're going to be able to do to overcome that. You've got to start with that, and you've got to start with managing your energy, so you've got as much available to you as is possible. And we all live in different situations, we all have different demands placed upon us, but you have to have the energy to apply yourself to the tasks that are required of you. So manage your energy first, not your time. And I think that makes absolute sense. There is a bit of a cyclical thing here, because what I would say is actually in some ways you've got to manage some things into time slots so that you can generate your energy first. But I suppose what it's alluding to here is you've got to get those things. You've got to get those things in first. Stephen Covey says that, doesn't he? You've got to sharpen your saw. And if you're not stepping back from your role and creating the energy in the first place that you need in order to build up that physical pillar of resilience, then you're not gonna, no matter what you plan and organize for yourself, no matter how planned and organized you are, you're not going to have the energy to do those things. So I think that's a really important message. Manage your energy first, not your time. Because most of the people I suspect that I talk to through these things, this little group, I suspect are what I would call knowledge workers. I know lots of social workers listen to this, and lots of people who work in organisations that are quite similar. They're the people who are probably having a listen. That work is mental, but mental work has a physical demand to it as well. So you've got to have the energy. Your brain is just part of your body, like every other organ of your body is. So you've got to be getting all of that stuff right. You've got to be getting all of that rest and recovery stuff right in order to have the energy in the first place. So what steals your energy? Well, I've alluded to a couple of them already: poor sleep and inadequate rest. Now they sit in a similar kind of column, if you like, because obviously sleep is rest. Um, but rest is also many other things. Exercise, for example, is a restful pursuit. I don't know, other things. Reading books can be a restful pursuit. It depends on who you are and what makes you tick, I suppose. So, if we're not sleeping well, If we're not setting time aside for rest, then that is stealing energy away from us. As is a lack of exercise. I can tell you without hesitation that on days when I walk the dog, which is most days, but on days when I walk the dog, I've had some gentle exercise. I have more energy, and on days when I go for a run in the morning, I have more energy. I have more energy as well. It's an odd kind of. I don't know the science behind it. I'll have to look it up. It's an odd kind of thing. You would think that by dispelling energy through running or walking, you'd have less energy later on, but it seems to kind of, well, I'm assuming, this is me just assuming this now, I'm assuming it oxygenates your brain. Well, it does oxygenate your brain, makes you feel good about yourself, makes you feel positive, means you've achieved something already in the day because you've been for a walk or a run. So it's got lots of things that promote positive, energetic feelings, I suppose. Poor nutrition is the other thing that really saps our energy. This healthy gut biome idea, this connection between brain and gut through the vagus nerve and your healthy gut biome, that also steals energy. Two things we drink steal energy: well, caffeine and alcohol. Both great loves of mine, but caffeine and alcohol steal energy. I remember reading something a good while back now, years ago. Caffeine steals time from later in the day, and alcohol steals energy from tomorrow. Steals time from tomorrow, and I think you can replace that with energy. So caffeine steals energy from later in the day, gives you a boost, gives you the energy right now. But those scales have got to be balanced, so you have that caffeine slump in the afternoon. And how do you fix that? Drink more caffeine, which then just replicates that problem. Alcohol is the same. Having a few drinks on a night is great, but it's going to sap your energy the following day. So you've got to think about when you're having a few drinks. The other thing that is a time stealer are unmanaged tasks, and this is why I go on about planning all the time. So a bit of research that I have talked about before. A bit of research found that in unmanaged incomplete tasks sap psychological energy, but managed incomplete tasks don't drain that energy in the same way. So if you've got lots of things left to do that you haven't done yet, but you've managed them in some way, that saps on your psychological energy less than if you've got lots of things still left to do, but you haven't kind of controlled and managed them in some way. So by simply controlling and managing the tasks, by having a plan for those tasks, means they drain your energy less. And in knowledge work, in person-facing work, then what we're after are kind of high levels of mental energy all the time. So there you are. Manage your energy first, not your time. So you've got as much energy at your disposal as you can have. That requires you to have good sleep, good rest, some exercise in there, thinking about what you eat and drink, and controlling your tasks. So you have to set a bit of time aside to plan all those things, but make sure those are the things you do first. You'll have seen the analogy, I'm sure, online, and I've used it before I've seen it on Facebook, on YouTube and stuff, where the professor stands at the front of the classroom and fills up the jar with big rocks, and asks if you can get any more big rocks in there, and you can't, but you can get little things in. You can get little pebbles in, and then you can get sand in, and then you can get water in, so you can still keep putting things in. So even when it looks full, you can still get things in, dotted in and around what you need to do. But you've got to put your big rocks in first, because if you were to put all the pebbles in first, then you wouldn't be able to get a big rock in, but you can get pebbles in around the big rocks. Yeah, do you see the point? So you've got to figure out what your big rocks are. And this research article from Airbus would suggest that managing your energy is one of those big rocks. So plan that first. Make sure you're managing your energy first, not your time. So there you go. Exciting stuff. Let's have energetic days, and let's see if we can do things in such a way that we can offset that slump later on in the day, which is really difficult. That's really difficult. Don't beat yourself up if you get that, because we all do. The secret, I've gone off on another one now, haven't I? The secret is to manage tasked time. So once you've managed your energy, it is going to dip on an afternoon, no matter how effective you do that. There are some things you can do though. Manage your, if you've managed your energy really well, you're still going to have a slump on an afternoon. Most of us do. Um, so make sure you allocate time to task appropriate around that. Don't be allocating your really technical, complex, heavy thought work on an afternoon, if you can. I mean, I know sometimes it's difficult not to. You can do things um, to bolster your energy for an afternoon, and this is where your break at lunchtime is so important. To take on some good food, to move away from the area in which you're working, and to get outside and get some gentle exercise if you can. But certainly taking a break and moving away from the area you're working are musts, and then getting outside and some gentle exercise are all bonuses, but really positive, and they will enhance your energy for the afternoon and offset to some extent, because it's really hard to kick against our biology. They will offset to some extent that slump in the afternoon. So let's have good days, and I'll see you soon.